Hello and welcome to another episode from the water's edge, and finally you catch up with us back on another sea fishing session. Today we're down at Kessingland, and basically the aim of today's session is literally just to try and catch anything that swims. We're going to be sort of using a tactic that they class as scratching, so scratching around for your sort of bits and pieces. So it's going to be small baits, small hooks, and see if we can put a few fish on camera for you. We've got an absolutely glorious day for it, not necessarily as far as fishing conditions go. It's probably some of the worst conditions, but just to come out here and blow away the cobwebs, it's absolutely lovely. I think we're the only anglers on here, which probably shows that the fishing's not been that great, so hence the technique we're using. But there's certainly plenty of other people making the most of it. There's been a barbecue going on down there, people in and out of the sea. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting day if nothing else. We've got two rods out there at the moment. I say the small baits and small hooks. We'll be leaving them varying times depending on the crab activity and stuff like that. And we're now pretty much at the top of the tide, so we're going to be fishing the hull of the ebb, or as much of it as we want to. So I say they've been out a little while now, so I'll probably give them a look, see what the vermin activity is like, and yeah, hopefully we'll be able to show you a few fish throughout the session. Well, we'll just have a look at this rod here. I say it's been out 10 or 15 minutes or so, something like that, and it's already I think we're probably just gone past the top of the tide. Just definitely running the other way now. This line is quite a way down tide, but we'll get it in and have a little look. We had a couple of rattles first thing, but I don't know if there's a bit of weed out there or not. A lot of this time of year you get what's known as the mayweed, that real fine, horrible stuff that really clings to your line. But yeah, there's a good dose of it coming in now. I feel a little bit of weight there, might be a little something. Well, it looks like we'll kick this session off nicely with a couple of fish. Anyway, nothing massive. Let's just bring them in shot here so you can see them. Get a bit of line out, but a couple of little flatties to start. You can see them. I say not massive. We're not going to be targeting massive fish today, but yeah, a couple of little ones. So at least there's a few feeding. Anyway, what we'll do is we'll get them unhooked, and then we'll get some other baits ready and show you a little bit more about the rig and sort of stuff we've got with us today. So we'll get them back. Well, that's a good start. Anyway, I say I'm not expecting anything massive today. It is a technique they class as scratching, so scratching around for anything, and little dabs like that, like we just had, are probably going to make up the mainstream of the fish that you potentially catch and sort of using this method. So I've just got that rod out, just unclip the rig, and we'll give you a little look at it. Ever so simple. We've just got two little snoods coming off your rig body. Swivel at one end, that obviously attaches to your shock leader, and on the other end we've got a 5-ounce impact lead. There doesn't appear to be a massive amount of tide run. There's a little bit, a bit more than I thought, I must admit, but we're getting away with the 5, so we'll stick with that. Off your rig body you got your two snoods, and probably the most interesting thing about it is obviously we've got a small hook on there. I think that's a size 2. And what we have got is a little bit of bling. There's a little spinner blade there, a couple of beads and a sequin, and then a little bait stop. With the bits like this, do they make any difference? I don't know. It's not proven. I certainly don't think they hinder your chances. Like the little flatfish and stuff are quite inquisitive fish. So, if this is on the bottom, I don't know whether it might give off some vibrations or the colours or whatever, I don't know, but personally I'm a big fan of it. So that's just on there, and it acts two ways as well, because you've got your little bait stop. It just can keep you nice and compact. So that moves us on to the baits and stuff we're going to be putting on here. Really simple stuff. I've just got in my bucket here some normal lug. Take them everywhere. They're actually, I was saying to Steve, they're almost too big, some of these. You know, as typical, these are sort of your winter cod fishing baits. You almost want the, I mean, that's not too bad. A little small one worm job is all you need really. So an important thing on a day like today as well is just keep them out of the way of the sun, because they will not last with the heat and stuff as it is today and the bright sunshine. If these are exposed for too long, they'll just turn to a big mush. So keep them in there, keep them in the newspaper. They should be fine just for the session, and they can just tuck under here. I mean, what you can do is, and probably what I should have done today, but I wasn't expecting it to be so warm, was just to get an ice pack or, you know, an old 2 litre bottle of drink and freeze it the night before and just put that in, you know, in with them, and that'll just keep them cool. Also, what we have got, just another little thing. We've just got some little mini squid, and all we're doing with that is literally just taking tiny little strips off, and that's just for tipping off with. It just gives you two things really. It gives you a little bit more smell and a little bit more added attraction, but it also perhaps, you know, gives you a little bit more visual and a little bit more movement. So what we'll do is I'll just bait this up now. If I can find a small enough worm. But I mean, you know, the flatties and that, they've only got relatively small mouths, so you don't want anything too big for them, to be honest with you. It's a little bit, I haven't done this sort of fishing for quite a few years now. You know, normally it's the big baits and the Frio pennels, but I must admit it's quite nice. You know, you sort of realise when you're doing this sort of fishing, you realise why you love it so much. It's just nice to get out here and see a few bites and get a few fish. I think everyone loves catching flatties. Just bait the second hook up now as well. Thread it through obviously all through the body of the worm. Pop it over the knot there. I just like to nip that sandy tail off as well. I don't think that's really needed. It can sometimes make it spin on the cast, so I just nip that off. I cover the worm back up. And then pretty much all I'm doing is getting one of these little squid, and we'll just cut it down the middle depending on the size. You get two little halves. Get the top hook. Like to leave plenty of hook points showing. We'll just go through once, twice for that. So if you can see that there, just that little sliver of squid just gives you, say, that little bit of added attraction, you know. And there's your small worm bait. And we'll do the same with this this bottom hook. Once, twice. We'll leave a little bit more hanging there. I'll show you that's the finished thing anyway. Say two smallish baits, two smallish hooks. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a small fish. You know, you never know. You could get, you know, a bass or something in the surf there. You know, you can get anything, but in general, that's what we're going for today. So we'll get this one back out there, and then it's probably time to check the other one, because I think we just had a little rattle on that. So yeah, hopefully we'll report back in a second with another fish or two. Well, we've got another small little dab, and he really is a postage stamp of a fish, that one. I'll just let a bit more line free here. Tiny little thing, but you know, when you, I say, scratch, and this is the sort of thing, you know, you're fishing for, it just a fish. So you see, it's perfect camouflage on top there for anyone who's not caught them before. Sort of pure white underneath. They got their eyes, see, on like top of the head there, and the tiny little mouth on them. But we'll get them slipped back. There's 3 fish in the first few casts, so can't complain. But really, he really is palm sized. We'll get him slipped back. that's out there nicely. Just give it a little bit of line. We'll slowly tighten down to it, and then just pop it on the rest there, and that's fishing away. It's probably you know, something worth mentioning is that probably didn't look like it went very fast, because one of the things that I like to do, you know, you're doing this sort of fishing, experiment with your distances. Fish, put one further out, fish one closer in, really sort of try and mix it up and see if you can find where the fish are, because you know, some of the time you can find you're actually casting over them, and a lot of the time, especially with these smaller species, they can actually be quite close into the shore. You know, there's probably all sorts of little gullies and little sandbanks and little patches where there might be some food, so mix it up a little bit. And if you find, you know, you're getting a lot of fish within, say, 40 yards, then stick with it, you know. And that's what I'm going to try and do with this one anyway. Normally I'll fish one further out, one closer in, try and cover, you know, as many areas as you can. And if you find a few fish, obviously it's not like coarse fishing, you can't clip up, you know, you're not casting to a reed bed or a little island, but you know, that's perhaps a little tip that help you get a few more fish. But these two are out fishing now, so I'm probably I'm going to get out the sun a little bit, I think, in the shelter, because I'll be by lobster by the end of the day if I'm not careful. So yeah, we'll catch up in a second, and hopefully with a few more fish. I think we've got something interesting, a little different to show you here, and something that's definitely worth just a moment to talk about, because on this this bottom hook here, I'm going to be a little bit careful, but you see that in camera is a weaver fish. Now here in the UK we don't have too many sort of dangerous species or anything like that, you know, in our waters or poisonous, but this is one of them. And yeah, this chap here, you can't see it because he's not got it up, but right on the back of his back there, he's got a nasty sort of little black spine, and sometimes if you're out there they'll sort of sit in the sand, and if you're in paddling and you accidentally stand on one, it can be rather painful. So you can see he's very sort of quite strange markings, to be honest. You know, you'd never get mixed up with him being a whiting or anything like that, but sometimes, especially if you're fishing at night and you don't quite look properly and you go and grab it, he can give you a nasty little injury. So I'm just gonna get this one off. I'll put him in the towel and just slip the hook out and we'll get him back. But something a little bit different, and yeah, something I'm not particularly fond of catching, but yeah, we'll get him slipped back. Well, we just had a little rattle on this rod, so I'll have a quick look at it. I'll put this one really close in, actually, because as the tide has gone down, you'll probably see it. There's a bit of a sort of bank here, I don't know, over many 40-50 yards out, something like that. So what you find is you get some fish will be this side of the bank and some fish will be over it. So, you know, in a situation like that, like I was saying about mixing up your distances, that's one perfect example of you know, how you can do it, because it's really quite prominent. And we've got another little dab on here. I'll just wind him up. We've had a few now. It's been quite a nice day, plenty of bites and action in this glorious sunshine, but we've had nothing bigger than about that. I guess that's probably been about average size. We've had a few smaller ones, but good fun all the same. And when there's not really a lot else out there, a little bit of a funny time of year, it's just nice to come out and catch a few. Yeah, I'm just getting another bait prepared. We've had a good few fish so far. That's been good, to be honest. It'd be nice to get back out here and nice to see you know, see the rod tips nodding away again, even if they have only been small fish. But you know, as we sort of said, it was the sort of name of the game really at the start of the session. So, you know, I guess you'd say it's been pretty successful. But that's getting on later on in the day now. The sort of beach is cleared out, and I mean, to be fair, if we could do, we'd probably stay on and fish the sort of the evening tide as well, because I definitely think with conditions tonight there would be, you know, a half decent chance of perhaps a ray or something like that, but unfortunately we can't. So I don't know, we're not going to give it too much longer. We've got another couple of chucks left in us yet, including this one, so hopefully we might be able to report back with a final 1 or 2 fish before we go, but we'll get this one back out and see if we can't do just that. Well, I think we're the lucky last. We've got one last fish to show you before we sign off from another session. It's time we head home and get some tea, I think. But another little flatty. So all pretty much been like peas in a pod today, but it's been good fun. Nice to come out and nice to get a few bites, and more importantly, nice to put a few fish on camera for you, even though they have been small. So we'll get him unhooked and get him slipped back. Fingers crossed now it might be a case of onwards and upwards and onto a few bigger and better things throughout this year. But I'd just like to say, as always, thanks for watching, be lucky, and we'll see you again on the next one.